Hello and welcome to the newscast. It's Sunday at 6 p.m. here in Korea, live from Seoul. I'm Daniel Choy. Today marks the 4th anniversary of the shelling on Yeonpyeong-do Island when a sudden barrage of artillery fire by North Korea left several South Koreans dead or wounded. To mark the day and remember the fallen, ceremonies were held across the nation, including one on the island itself. Our Kim Hyun-bin was there, and he brings us this report.
November 23, 2010, North Korea bombarded South Korea's western border island of Yeonpyeong-do. Over 170 heavy artillery rounds were fired by the north, demolishing buildings, killing 2 civilians, 2 Marines, and wounding 16 others. Hundreds of residents were forced to evacuate. The attack marked the first time North Korea had launched an attack on South Korean territory since the Korean War. To mark the day, a memorial service was held in Seoul with hundreds of distinguished guests, including Defense Minister Hyun-bin, to pay tribute to the fallen. A smaller ceremony hosted by the city of Incheon and the Marines was also held on Yeonpyeong-do.
We have to strengthen our national security so the sacrifices of 4 years ago are not forgotten. We need our citizens to realize how important our security and military readiness is to bring about a peaceful unification.
4 years have passed since the attack, but local residents still live in fear. The North Korean military has fired hundreds of rounds near the island this year alone.
Every time I hear artillery fire, I'm afraid that it's North Korea attacking again. We can't live normal lives. When North Korea fires off rounds of artillery, we have to go into a bomb shelter. We live in a constant fear.
Since the attack, the South Korean military has established a border island command, dispatched an additional 1,200 troops, and deployed dozens of heavy artillery and arms to the island. The South Korean military presence on this island has beefed up significantly, and troops remain on the highest alert for any kind of provocations, something North Korea has to keep in mind should it pull the trigger again. Kim Hyun-bin, Arirang News, Yeonpyeong-do.
And another story featuring North Korea, of course. North Korea, the regime on Sunday continued its campaign against last week's UN resolution condemning Pyongyang's human rights violation. The latest bluster follows the North's threat of another nuclear test earlier in the week. Our Kim Young-gil has this report.
North Korea's most powerful military body, the National Defense Commission, has rejected a UN resolution condemning North Korea for its human rights violations and refers Pyongyang's leaders to the International Criminal Court. In a statement released Sunday by the Korean News Central Agency, the commission called the move a US-led attempt to topple the North Korean regime and said the resolution encroaches upon the North's sovereignty. The commission called on US President Barack Obama to apologize for favoring passage of the draft resolution and called the move a criminal act by Washington. The statement also highlights the North's generosity in freeing 2 American detainees earlier this month and says that by stirring up the North's human rights issues, the U.S. was being ungrateful. Japan, the European Union, and South Korea were also called out for helping the resolution to pass. But Pyongyang thanked China and Russia for voting against the resolution. The KCNA also reported Sunday that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un guided a joint military drill and called for army units to reinforce their operational command. Kim also called for frequent joint military exercises to bolster the regime's war deterrent capabilities. The leader's actions follow threats made by the North on Thursday when it vowed to strengthen its war deterrence against what it deems hostile powers and threatened to conduct a 4th nuclear test. Pyongyang withdrew from the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons in 2003. Kim Young-gil, Arirang News.
Shifting our focus back to South Korea, Koreans' level of trust in their society has fallen below average. The Korea Institute for Health and Social Affairs reported that some 3,600 adults have a low level of trust in Korean society based on the frustration that comes from a widening earnings gap and dissatisfaction with their standard of living. The report showed that people who are less satisfied with their standard of living have less trust in society, while those who are satisfied with their lives have more trust in society. The White House has distanced itself from a local dispute over a statue installed in a public park in Glendale, California. The statue is of a comfort woman and was installed as a reminder of Japan's wartime atrocities. Korea and Japan had both filed petitions to the federal government on the matter. The one from Korea advocates for the statue's preservation, while the one from Japan urges its removal. The White House said Saturday it's not the federal government but local governments that have jurisdiction over the issue. Last year, Korean Americans and Korean nationals in the area led a project to install the statue with the aim of raising public awareness about victims of Japan's program of wartime sexual slavery. Korea's chronically low birth rate and rapidly aging population are about to bring about a huge shift in the ratio of women to men in the country. Shin Se-min tells us how things will change in the coming years.
The nation's population is about to undergo a major change in the next year. Women will outnumber men for the first time since 1960. Statistics Korea predicts that the number of women will stand at over 25.31 million by 2015, outnumbering men by 10,000. The agency attributed the change to two major social issues facing the country: the low birth rate and the rapid aging of the population. There are still more boys born in Korea than girls, but given that women have a longer life expectancy than men, their numbers will still be higher overall. But that's not all. The number of people over the age of 65 is also expected to grow rapidly to more than 7.1 million by 2017 from 6.4 million this year. The nation first became an aging society in the year 2000 when just 7% of the population was over 65. But at the current rate, the country could become a super-age society in 2026 when over 20% of its population will be over 65. Given these trends, the labor force will also drop, which is expected to pull down the nation's growth rate. Experts say that to combat the low birth rate and aging population and prevent the economic growth rate from dropping further, the government must utilize the workforce of women, the elderly, and foreigners, and programs and services for these groups must be improved. Shin Se-min, Arirang News.
And U.S. President Barack Obama is set to halt the deportations of around 5 million undocumented immigrants and provide work permits for them. The president's executive action would defer deportations for people without criminal records, undocumented immigrants who have been in the country for many years and contributed to American society. It is expected to boost the local economy, strengthen national security, and help keep families together. There are big supporters of Obama's immigration order, including former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. But many Republicans in Congress are critical of the move, with some accusing Obama of overstepping his executive powers, saying it is an impeachable offense. Japan and China are reeling from the impact of strong earthquakes with magnitudes of more than 6 that hit on Saturday. A 6.8 magnitude earthquake struck Nagano, Japan Saturday night, leaving at least 50 people injured. Japan's meteorological agency reported that several buildings collapsed due to the seismic activity. The earthquake originated at a depth of 10 kilometers at its epicenter, but no tsunami alerts were issued. Over in China, an earthquake with a magnitude of 6.3 rocked Sichuan province in southwestern China on Saturday, killing 2 people. Roughly 60 people were injured during a stampede at an elementary school. The Sichuan Xinhua news agency says authorities are still trying to assess the extent of the casualties. A new case of bird flu has been confirmed in Germany. German Agriculture Minister Christian Schmidt said in a statement issued Saturday that the H5N8 strain of bird flu has been confirmed in a wild goose found in the eastern state of Mecklenburg-Vorpommern. Other wild birds from the area, as well as those from the Netherlands and Britain, are suspected of being infected with the virus. The minister advised farmers in all German states to keep their animals in their stalls. H5N8 was previously confirmed only in Asia, but migrating birds have transmitted it to several European locations. including a duck farm in Yorkshire, England, and several farms in the Netherlands. The H5N8 strain is highly contagious among birds, but never has been detected in humans. And now the weather. The foggy and damp conditions here in Korea are expected to continue through Monday nationwide. We are also expecting showers that will put the mercury at around 7 to 8 degrees Celsius. And now let's take a look at the weather conditions outside of Korea around the world. Well, that brings us to the end of this newscast, but we have more coming your way at 10 p.m. Korea time, so do join us then. For now, thank you for watching.